Good morning, folks, and welcome back to the channel. So, more things going on. It's every day I wake up and I think to myself, what absolute suspenseful events could happen next? Cole, that was a bit of a mouthful for this time in the morning. Folks, let me know what you're sipping on. I am sipping on some very, very, very nice Arabica beans. I had them sent over from Egypt from someone who I know who lives out there. We've done some work together before, and they complimented me with some beans for some drawings that I had sent them. So that was really nice. But folks, moving forward, now I think this is really important. It's a USTC update, and this one stood out a lot to me because at the bottom it states, be hopeful, just don't breathe hopium. Now, for many weeks and many Twitter spaces, and we've got these Twitter spaces available. We live streamed a lot of them. It was USTC's the only way. You should put all of your eggs in one basket. USTC's the way. Without USTC, LUNC's pointless. It was everything USTC, 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 USTC. We all witnessed those Twitter spaces alongside, the consistent shilling of other different projects, but this was really an angle they were playing. Decentralized money needs, that whole, it's insane. We've been through this before on the channel, right? But like I was saying, this really does stand out to me. And the reason why is 1 minute they're preaching one thing, the next minute they're preaching something else. And something I've taken from this, and it's really something that stood out a lot to me in this weekly update, and it's the fact that CXs are not going to touch this. They're not going to touch it simply on the basis that it's not even functioning on chain correctly. There's no data to support anything. We've not tested, we've not tried anything. We don't even know if people are going to be interested in it, right? And that's what CEXs are looking for. And something that really saddened me about sort of this sentiment towards this is I actually said to Redline way before they got funded is that, don't you think that you should develop it on chain first, get it so it works on chain, then spread out into the cosmos through IBC partnerships or alliance partnerships, however you wanted to do it, but do it on chain, get it on the cosmos, because that's how it originally started, right? You have to start small with these things. It's no good just going straight for the jugular. You've really got to plan this out. You've got to go step by step, and you've got to prove. Okay, it's all good us paying people consistently over and over again, but when we're not getting the results that people want, it goes to show we shouldn't put all of our eggs in one basket. And for me, I'm all up for a USTC repeg, right? But it should be done correctly. And something else that stands out a lot to me in this is the fact that if they are to follow this route of real world asset backing, right, they're going to need funding for it. Where's the funding going to come from? The likelihood is, right, it's going to be suggested it comes from the Oracle rewards pool. We've seen this once before, and everybody knows who suggested it was Alex Forshaw with the USTN system. And, I feel like we're getting back to that point again. And it's, like I said, it's all about moving people an inch to get them to ultimately the goal of moving a mile, and it's step by step, whittle you down and make you feel like you haven't got any decisions. And ultimately, right, if I was even going to attempt to start this repeg, my first port of call would have been the reward system currently distributing out useless native assets, which are all of the crappy stables, and then USTC from the Oracle rewards pool. That would be my first port of call, was to attack those. But the issue is the USTC team, I think they want to utilize those native assets. I just don't think it's a good, because what you're doing, right, instead of just simply going, right, we're going to focus on USTC, which is what a lot of you think, they're not. They're actually focusing on probably about 30 stable assets. And we're too small. We don't have enough funding. We're never going to have enough funding to ever get remotely close to even being able to back this in real world assets. And once again, right, this injection of capital, it's going to come from this community, and it's going to come from our future cash flows, if not our current cash flows. And we shouldn't risk everything right now. It's really stupid to do it. And I just feel like we've spread ourselves out too thin. We're covering very little and we're getting very little done at the same time. Now, it is coming into the end of the month, and their payment I don't know what's going to go on. If they're to continue working, they're going to want payments, right? So, where does this all go? One thing that is quite apparent is this idea of getting a test system and all of this. I'm just not convinced. I'm not seeing what I would like to see at this point, and then to see disheartening messages, so to speak, where it just says be hopeful, but just don't breathe hope in it. I only think the people that were spreading hopium are the actual people behind this. I don't think anyone else was bigging this up or spreading hopium other than your standardized hopium, which is it's going to go to $1 tomorrow, or, when Moon, when Lambo. I honestly don't think anybody even understands it relatively close enough to try and spread hopium about it, because no one even understands how they're going to do this. I don't even understand how they plan to do all of this. I can only assume and sort of think, where would it come from? And the likelihood is those same roots again, Oracle rewards pool, and it's all got to come from the LUNC blockchain in order to try and repeg a coin that is possibly also tied up in all sorts of different legal stuff. It's all unknown, and we've never ever had a sure shot answer as to the legal implications with this. And something also I suggested to Redline Drifter was, why don't we pay a third party law team to actually look into this and see, can we do this legally? Do we have the legal right to do this? Is there going to be repercussions? Are the people who were previously wrecked by it going to be coming for retribution? And we always run head first out of a window into these things every time, hoping that we don't hit the floor hard and that glass doesn't penetrate us as we hit the floor. And it's all got to stop at some point. And we've really got to sit there and think to ourselves, if we want this huge repeg of decentralized money for a decentralized future, right, then maybe it's time to actually start getting people in that can say to us, look, I'm qualified in this kind of thing. Here's my certs. Here's my audit, blah, 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 right? If we're paying so much money, right, for example, right, how many listeners here have been to university? If you've been to university, you'll understand just how much of a debt you pick up from that, right? You go and you pay money to the government to learn what you're interested in, so you can go and earn money to do that, right? So why is it the governments don't simply just go, well, you can have a free university education and anything you want? And it's all of these questions we've got to start to ask ourselves. And why do we keep getting these same results over and over and over again? And I just think we don't ever have the right kind of systems in place. It's like there's a wheel and it needs braking, because constantly we're on this wheel, and we're always on this wheel, and we're always running to just keep the lights on. And 1 minute it's like, yeah, it's really good, and the next minute it's like, just don't breathe hopium. So it's a lot to take in, I know, this morning, but I think it was important to give you my perspective on this. Go and do your own research, go and have a read, go and see what you think from it all, and let me know what you think. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly just look at the price chart here, because I think there's an interesting sort of situation playing out. If we actually look at the USTC chart, it's just a downtrend currently. As we can see here, it's just a downtrend, and this is going back 2 days, in a downtrend. Not a huge amount of interesting stuff going on. Whereas what we're seeing is patterns emerging. We're seeing 3 drives. We've seen this before coming down, and we're now seeing 3 drives possibly moving back upwards. I've got 2 scenarios I'm contemplating for and plotting for, and it's this move possibly upwards to the 7,000 point per coin range, or moving back down to this area. I'm hopeful, and my idea is if we stay within this channel, we keep moving in this same pattern, we will see 3 drives, as to which we come up and we do the very progressive move, as to which we go up, we come down, we go up, come down. But ultimately over time, as you can see, we are moving upwards in an upwards trajectory, which is really, really good. Hopefully everything starts to look really good. The funding gets to where it needs to. Where it shouldn't be going, it shouldn't be going. And I think everyone's going to be a lot happier. I think the mass media are going to report on it as a big win for the community. And I just think this is something that could propel us up to the next leg. And I think this is really important. Like I said in my previous video yesterday, I think it's a really important point, because once we break out of this area, once again, seeing it time and time again. No, I don't want a trend line. It's all going wrong. Okay, let me get the brush. Here we go. So, you know, a few times now, we've tried to breach out of this area. A few times, or more than a few. I hope if we can break this, if we can break this zone, we will move up to the next leg and hold up a new area, and we can start to see another pattern play out. And I think it's all down to behaviors as to what's going on and speculating as to what the sentiment is and the speculation behind the coin. We can see the technicals are at neutral. It's so early here in the morning. But other than that, folks, look, you know, I'm not a genius. I'm not a rocket scientist, and I don't have a crystal ball, right? These are just my perspectives on things all the time, every time. And you're just simply listening to the ramblings of a man behind his desk, doodling on a screen at this point. But, you know, have a really nice day. That's my perspective. Let me know what you think. Stay safe, stay humble, stay aware. And as always, I will catch you in the next one. Ciao.